Listen, y'all, it's all must win at this point for the Baltimore Ravens as they got a Thursday night football game. It's coming oh so close. It's just tomorrow. I mean, my goodness, if you're watching this on Thursday, it's tonight. Look, the Ravens got the Dolphins, and we know there's this weird history between the Ravens and the Dolphins, and even Thursday night football when it comes down to it. And the Ravens are in a must win situation. But honestly, the Dolphins are probably too. So we got to talk about it. Look, get your popcorn, get your drink. We live tonight talking about this Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins game coming up on Thursday night football. In a game that either team, something's got to give because somebody got to win. All right, y'all, what's going on, good people? Back at it again. Look, another preview for y'all. Ravens, Dolphins, Thursday night football. Two teams that look closer to the number one overall pick than they look to the playoffs. I'm just okay. I'm just telling y'all right at this moment. But a lot can change in a couple weeks, so we'll see how it goes. But look, y'all, Ravens coming off. Of course, they had the bye week, and then they had a bye week return victory last week. You know, of course, you had a decent showing defensively from them against the Rams. And then they came back with Tyler Huntley and the crew and really showed some true improvements, I think, when it came to the Bears, right? Because when we talked about it yesterday, but when you look at this team and you look at the improvements that were made, you got to feel at least a little bit optimistic, right? Now, coming into it, you got Miami, and this is what I was talking about when I kind of had a little more optimism, even starting 1-5, right? I kind of talked about the schedule because if you just look, I mean, of course, you lose the Rams game, which sucks, and I think I was hoping you would go 1-1 in that Texans Rams stretch, and you didn't. But just looking way too far ahead, real quick. Looking way too far ahead, real quick. I'm gonna pull it up for y'all so y'all can see it too. But looking way too far ahead, of course, you got the Dolphins, which it's not to say that the Dolphins. You blocking my light? Not to say, it's not to say that the Dolphins are necessarily a bad team. I don't think they're good right now. I think there's so much potential with the Dolphins. But if y'all look at it, y'all look at it with me. So you got the Dolphins, and then you got the Vikings. Two winnable games. The Browns, always a tough one. You beat them earlier in the year, and honestly, I don't know if they look any better, to be honest with you. Right. And then you got the Jets, who just won their first game last week. And then you got the Bengals, still no Joe Burrow by this time, but we'll see what they're doing offensively by then. So it's just interesting to see, you get into the AFC North, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, which, like I said, ahead of the season, my goodness. And then the Patriots, and then you end off the season with the Packers. So it's a very, very interesting outlook into the season. Of course, I mean, we have so much time with the Thursday night football game this week that we will get plenty of time to talk to look further into the discussion. But let's talk about the Ravens and let's talk about the Dolphins. All right. So listen, when it comes to this Ravens Dolphins game, it's very, very interesting going into it because you got two teams. You got one team in the Dolphins that's 2-6. You got one team in the Ravens that's 2-5. So honestly, they're kind of similar. Look at the defenses, ranking wise, very similar. I feel like personally, just watching the Ravens, I feel like in terms of giving up points, it feels like the Ravens have been worse. But in the last couple of weeks, the Ravens have shown some improvement. And kind of like we talked about before, the Dolphins have this weird way of being kind of bad, but then when they come up against the Ravens, especially on Thursday night football, they somehow just find a way. I mean, we of course remember the big comeback. I feel like they were a little bit better back then when they first got Tyreek Hill. The Ravens got up on them big, and what was that, week 2, a couple years ago? And everybody, all the flock was excited because we're like, hey, this is a revenge game right here. We know what happened last time. And you talking about you up big on them last time, which was that Thursday night football game. That was just a complete debacle by the Ravens when they lost to the Dolphins, kind of one they shouldn't have lost, it felt like. But that was that game, and we all remember it, where the Ravens went up on them big, and then they came storming back in the fourth quarter. And it was honestly one of those times where I felt like honestly the Dolphins were about to be kind of really being a force in that AFC East, and they just never really got back to that. Not necessarily after that game, but just after that season. Tua has struggled with injuries and stuff like that, and really become, and maybe he always has been, but especially as of late, a turnover machine. And I think he's always been not necessarily a turnover machine by no means, but more so bad turnovers at bad times. I think that's always been Tua's MO. And I think that's where, honestly, coming into this game, the Ravens, and when you look at like the recipe for success for this game, the Ravens honestly can lean into that, can lean into the turnovers that this team commits, specifically Tua. I don't know how many fumbles Achane has. I feel like the Ravens haven't forced a fumble in forever, but let's see if I can look at it real quick. But I feel like when it comes down to it, that's an exploit, a place you can exploit if you are the Ravens. I want to see if he lost any fumbles this year. I feel like Achane hasn't really been terribly great this season. I mean, he's lost one. I mean, he's fumbled once and didn't lose it. So it's not like that's gonna be, it's gonna be tough to rip the ball away from him too. So there's also that aspect of it where it's like it's gonna be kind of tough to rip it away from him. So look, y'all, I think you got to rely on this defense continuing to do what they did last week, and even in the Rams game, right, to hold them to 17 and getting pressure on these guys. I think last week was kind of a maturation of what we saw against the Rams, right? Last week was more, let's get pressures, let's make Caleb Williams uncomfortable. Whereas the Rams game was like, we're not really getting pressure, but we still gonna try to knock things down. We still gonna try to get sacks. And I think I'll be curious to see how creative Zach Orr gets with this type of offense. You're talking about there's speed almost everywhere. Even without Tyreek Hill, you still got Jalen Waddle, you still got Achane who is really fast. And this defense is really gonna have to buckle down and keep him, force him into your help. That's what I always feel like, especially when you kind of struggle run defense wise. To me, the fundamental is always force this guy back into your help if you can't get to him, right? Know where your help is, know where your gaps are, and force him back, right? And I think like don't let Achane get to going realistically, right? I feel like it's the biggest thing going into this game, right? The biggest thing going into this game is you cannot let Achane get his speed going and get a little bit of rhythm, because I feel like he's kind of been okay this season. And I feel like honestly, the biggest thing is I think Achane is they're going to try to feed Achane a little bit and not put it too much into his hands, because we all know Tua he bound for at least one turnover, man. Tua is bound for at least one turnover. What's up, Hendo? Appreciate you coming by as always. Make sure you check out my guy Hendo as always. I'll always shout him out, especially when my friend Yolanda B comes in. I always shout out the Road Pod. So check him out. Always love the content. Appreciate you for coming by as always. Look, we got to get back together again. We do. It's been far too long. I know I always say that. I say that every time you drop by, but I'm being for real. But look, I think when it comes down to the Dolphins, the Ravens are going to have to just continue to build on what they've done the last couple of weeks, right? The last couple of weeks, it's been the defense has been very disciplined. Honestly, I don't even think it's really been that aggressive. I think it's just been discipline, knowing where you need to be, and being exactly where you need to be. I think that's been the kind of key to success for the Ravens defense. Is I feel like they're not, I said it in the recap before. Look, you got, like, my thing is keep playing to your strengths, right? Your strengths right now is the secondary, and get enough pressure and make Tua uncomfortable. He will turn the ball over, right? If they're like, I know we play a lot of quarterbacks who just refuse to turn the ball over. Patrick Mahomes against the Ravens, absolute refusal to turn the ball over. Even I feel like Joe Burrow sometimes, like, it's like, I don't know if he's gonna turn the ball over, right? Josh Allen refuses to turn the ball over against us. Refuses, absolute refusal. But Tua Tagovailoa is gonna turn the ball over. If you don't get that's an indictment on your defense if you don't get a turnover from Tua. I'm just saying. What's up, Yolanda B? Just talking about you. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Appreciate you coming by as always. Look, Keys to victory, drop them down below. Let me know what you think. I think defensively, if I'm going to focus on the defense first, you got to get at least one turnover. You got to win the turnover battle here, right? You got to force Tua to make that mistake. Tua, I like Tua. I do like Tua. And I feel like I'm being hard on him, but I do like Tua. But right now, Tua is in enemy territory right now, okay? I like Tua, but you got to force Tua to make that mistake he's going to make. You got to. That mistake that makes Dolphins fans sick. My dad is a Dolphins fan. So I know that type of thing, right? I got a couple of people at church who are Dolphins fans, and they said Tua makes me sick sometimes with these turnovers. So the Ravens have to get pressure by any means necessary. Now, don't leave necessarily guys on an island per se. If they can handle themselves, they can handle themselves. But I need the Ravens to come into this game and get pressure again by any means necessary, by hook or by crook, right? And I feel like that's exactly what they did against the Bears. It was a perfect blueprint. You send guys to your help, but at the same, and you play to your strengths. Get pressure by any means necessary, and that's what the Ravens got to do defensively. Now, offensively, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's Thursday night football. Always a weird, in most occasions, a weird game. The Ravens need to just reestablish their identity, lean into Derrick Henry, and let's ease Lamar Jackson back into it. Right? The Ravens don't have to light the world on fire, I don't think, against this team. I really don't, especially on Thursday night. Would I love to see it? Hey, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying they don't have to. Right? They don't have to. Now, would it be kind of a big deal to do that? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think realistically, because I feel like I get a little optimistic, especially Lamar Jackson's coming back. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I want to go Jackson 5, but I'm not going to because I feel like this offense in the last couple of weeks has struggled with Lamar Jackson. And I think, you want to ease him back in. He's been out for a month now, right? So, I don't want to throw everything back at him and put the pressure right back on him again. So it's like lean into this run game. And offensively, for the rest of the offense, be efficient. Do what you've done. Let him get back, because honestly, and this is more so kind of a first quarter tip, because I feel like once Lamar Jackson gets back into his rhythm, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. I think we'll see those special plays again. But I think realistically, just starting out the first quarter, starting out this game, ease your way into it. Todd Monken, I love the emotion from Todd Monken. Can we have that conversation? Right? Todd Monken has been getting some unfair criticism for a team who realistically, offensively hasn't been horrible, right? Defensively has been far worse, right? I know there was a couple games there where the offense was maybe a little bit more conservative than they needed to be, but let's be honest. Todd Monken had a little chip on his shoulder last week, even with Tyler Huntley. You think that Todd Monken ain't gonna do the same thing against the Dolphins? Ain't gonna still have that level of emotion, especially with having his guy back, having his MVP back. I could see this being a big offensive game and some big offensive output for the Ravens against the Dolphins, especially considering how this Dolphins defense is played as well. But I will say that I'm expecting them to slow it down first, establish that identity, run the football. I think they're going to run the football. I think they're going to run the air out of it. But another thing, and I forgot about this, and I apologize for omitting this in my recap, but it was a major key in the win against the Bears. Keaton Mitchell. There was a Keaton Mitchell sighting. Keaton Mitchell was tagged in, hot tagged almost, okay? Keaton Mitchell. Y'all know I'm excited. Y'all know I've been calling for this for a while. Honestly, I've been wanting to make a video about Justice Hill for a minute. It's coming soon. But Keaton Mitchell, just that level of speed, because I feel like a lot of people, when they see Keaton Mitchell in the game and they see him making plays, I think he only had like 4 rushes and he had a couple of receptions too. When they see him get out there, make a play almost every time he gets the football, it gives you that little spark. And I think a lot of people are going in the wrong direction in this regard. I don't think the split should be Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. The split should be Derrick Henry and Keith Mitchell, right? Let Derrick Henry do his thing. Wear you down all the way down to the fourth quarter. Wear you down. And then let Keaton Mitchell be your change of pace guy. I like Justice Hill as a change of pace guy, but I just feel like Keaton Mitchell is just that little extra that you need on this offense. He just makes things that much more easy. And I think you got to lean into that. You have to lean into that. Lean into your strengths. I think that's what the Ravens got to do. Because it's Thursday night, and we know like Thursday night football games are always kind of weird. It's a short week. You know, Lamar Jackson's probably going to be pretty emotional to get back and get going and get himself back going again. So I think that's going to take a little bit of time for him to just get back composed and do his thing. I'm still expecting great things from him. Don't get me wrong. But I think leaning to Keaton Mitchell, leaning to Derrick Henry, and we know the special plays will be made. I mean, that's the thing. The thing about having Derrick Henry, especially, and even having Keaton Mitchell and his ability to really go from 0 to 100 real quick. The thing about having those guys is it just makes Lamar Jackson's job that much easier. We already know how great Lamar is. We already know how great Lamar is with what feels like almost nothing. So since we already know that, you got Derrick Henry for a reason. Keaton Mitchell seems to be on this roster for a reason. So continue to lean into him. Continue to lean into Derrick Henry and make it easier for Lamar Jackson. Because if you make it easier for Lamar Jackson, we've seen time and time again, this offense can be absolutely unstoppable. And I think as this defense, hopefully, I'm being optimistic once again here, but as this defense is hopefully turning the corner a little bit, right? Hopefully finding their identity a little bit, hopefully finding what works for them and the talented guys that they have. You know, these cast of characters, as this defense finds itself, right? If you make things even easier for the offense, and when I say easier, I don't mean we're not playing the score. I mean, leaning to Derrick Henry, then they got to, you know, then they know, hey, we got to respect Derrick Henry. We got to respect Keaton Mitchell. We got to respect Zay Flowers. You know, get these guys involved quick. Right, get these guys involved quick, and we'll see how it goes, y'all. What y'all think? What y'all think? Let me know down below. What y'all think? How did the Ravens win this game? Because at this point, you know, and I said it before, like the Dolphins are kind of in a must-win situation too. But the Ravens are what, 2 games out from the top of the North right now, and that's what they're really fighting for. And they have to. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. They have to win this game. And I think the easiest way, the simplest way, I should say, nothing's easy in this league. The simplest way to win this game is to do what brought you to the dance, to do what you've been doing. This defense in the last couple of weeks, discipline. That's been the biggest key. Discipline. Do not let Tua Tagovailoa get out of the pocket. Right? Rally him back into your help too. Don't let A-Chain break off anything at all. No big plays for this team. Make them earn every single thing. And kind of like we talked about before, if you're gonna be the type of defense that's gonna bend but don't break, you can't break at the end. So this defense has to continue to play that bend or don't break football. That's been working. And if they do get to the 20s, field goal. That's how it's got to be. Once again, offensively, lean into Derrick Henry. Lean into Derrick Henry. Lean into Keaton Mitchell. Let's ease Lamar Jackson back into it. I know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know Lamar Jackson could literally come out there, Jackson 5 it up, and get on out of there. I know he can. But I'm just saying, let's ease him back into it. Let's make it easy on him for once. Let's make it easy on the MVP for once. Okay. Try to say 6 goes, my guy. B2 back again. Look, we've been broke. Look, I'm trying to be optimistic. Okay. I'm trying my best about this defense. This defense that even when the rankings were good, couldn't get stops when he needed to. But anyway, look, I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to be nice. Brandon, don't do this to me. Look. We'll see. Look, y'all. A win here, 3-5. check in on the rest of the AFC North because I feel like the Steelers are at what 3 losses right now versus a questionable offense. Oh, don't say that, man. Come on, don't say that. Look, we look good. We look good against a questionable offense. Look, I mean, I don't know. The Bears, I wouldn't say the Bears are a top offense by no means. But if you middle of the pack, you average, you probably question. Okay, I give it to you. But I mean, even against the Rams, right? Even against the Rams, we know the Rams. Rams like greatest show on turf level this year. So I mean, I feel like it's improvement, right? I feel like am I being too optimistic? Let me know. Look, I might be. Might be. Let me look real quick into this AFC North, and then we get up out of here. All right, look, the AFC North, my friends. So I mean, look. This is, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The Rams couldn't catch COVID. Listen, they was vaccinated. Never mind. Let me stop. Let me stop. Listen. Okay. So let me show y'all this real quick, just so y'all can tap in with me, okay? Because we tapping in together here. Oh, that's too small. Y'all can't see that. Oh, that ain't even there. Y'all can't see that either. Okay, there we go. Look. We learning, okay? Y'all ignore the AFC South, okay? Ignore them. Ignore the Colts, okay? Let's ignore the Colts. Because what's the Colts doing out here, okay? The Colts might be the biggest surprise. I'm predicting they're gonna be like the Vikings last year. They're gonna be really good at regular season, probably first round exit. That's just me. I shouldn't be so mean to them. But look, Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns. Look, as bad as the Ravens have played, they ain't even last place in the division. First things first. So that's a positive. Where's the darn division record at? Oh, there it is. 1-0 in the division. Okay. So technically, if we can get our way back up a little bit here, okay? Technically, the Ravens are in second place in the division. Technically, okay? Tractor beam. Look, technically, okay? If things stand the way they are, the Ravens start winning games, they start putting together wins. Coach Plant, look, I mean, Danny Dimes out here balling, okay? Danny Dimes is out here balling in a way that even my faith in Danny Dimes could not predict. Okay, look, he balling. They looking good. I think they're gonna be the Vikings of last year, but that's just me. I'm trying not to be mean. I'm trying, I'm upset at the Ravens right now, and I'm trying not to take that out on the rest of the league. But look, we see the Steelers falling off a cliff. We see it. Like the Steelers are the same team the Steelers are every single year, right? The Steelers are the same team the Steelers are every single year. See, can I like zoom in on this thing? Let me see what I can do here. Oh, is that working? Did it do it? There we go. All right, look, the Steelers are the same team the Steelers are every year. Good start, looking pretty good, leaning into their defense. That's about it, right? Their defense can't win them every single game. And that's why they're starting to fall off the cliff right now. The Bengals, it's the eliteness of Joe Flacco. Like, y'all know I'm a Joe guy. I'm kind of in between a rock and a hard place here, but it is the Bengals, so I cannot cheer for them. But the Bengals, oddly enough, have played very, very well. Now, do I feel like they will fall off at some point too? Probably, right? I know they just lost to the Jets. Crazy enough. I think they'll fall off at some point too. I think there's a newness to it. I think Jamar Chase is glad to have anybody but Jake Browning playing with him. Anybody with Jake Browning as his quarterback. And he's starting to find his way too. But realistically, the division is within reach. 2 games away from first place right now and tied with second place. The division is within reach, especially given kind of like we talked about before with what the schedule looks like. If this team can refine their identity, especially defensively, because I'm not, for once, a Ravens team, and y'all know me. I'm the guy that says, look, the Ravens are always going to be good defensively. That's just how it's going to be. I'm going to trust them on the defensive end because the Ravens culture has always been defense. Look, I know I said that. I know I said this. But look, I'm changing my tone because of what I've seen. And sometimes you just got to trust your eyes and what your eyes see. And what my eyes are seeing right now is this offense is better than this defense. And this defense is pretty bad. So I trust the offense to get it going before the defense is. But I do like what the defense has done to improve as of late. I do. I like it. But look, y'all, let me know. Let me know down below, how are the Ravens winning this game? Because they got to. So how they going to do it? The Ravens got to win this game. So how they going to do it? You got to let me know down below. Look, as always, for my live viewers out there, B2, appreciate you for coming by. As always, okay? As always, that's my guy, Yolanda B, my good friend. I appreciate you coming by as always as well. Appreciate the support. You and Hendo, always supportive, and I appreciate that. And I always try to support y'all as well. Try to hang out with y'all as much as I can. But look, y'all, definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in. Check out Rogue Pod. Check out Ravens Talk with Yolanda. Is it Yolanda? Is it just Yolanda? It's not Yolanda B. Ravens Talk with Yolanda. Okay, check out Ravens Talk with Yolanda. The Rogue Pod. Check them out as well. Look, y'all, I get up out of here as always. We, all major podcast platforms and all that. But if you're on YouTube right now, right in this moment, be sure to hit that subscribe button for me. Subscribe to my other friends that came out and hung out with us in the chat, in the live chat tonight. But look, y'all, we got to get up out of here. The Ravens got to get a win. Some got to give, y'all. Some got to give. And I'm telling y'all, bold prediction, the Ravens are going to lose 2 more games this season. 2 more games. 2 more games. We'll dive into it later on. The Ravens are going to lose 2 more games this season. I just got to figure out which ones they're going to lose. But the Ravens going to lose 2 more games this season. First in the AFC North. It's coming. I believe it. Okay, maybe I'm too optimistic. Look, y'all, I'm getting up out of here. Definitely appreciate y'all, as always, for coming by. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and subscribe to my friends as well. Look, y'all, I'll see y'all on the next episode of the Be More Show. Until next time, y'all, some got to give.